hey, this is one good benefit of this setup. We've actually got sound during the transition there. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody in between, welcome, of course, to the SYN Shop Podcast. I am the Mighty Pong.
And I'm Crux.
And I'm Forge.
There we go. Okay, we've got everybody on the boat. And hey, if you touch anything anywhere, wash your hands. And to find out about the shop, go to synshop.org. Let's move forward. All right, so I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but there was this game that came out called Cyberpunk 2077. Now, they're not a sponsor, of course, but seeing that video gave me some thoughts, and I don't mean just the wiggle vision. It gave me some thoughts of the whole body replacement thing, like augmenting your body, your meat with parts and stuff. So that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. This is the weirdest start to a show that I think we've ever had. But anyway, in order to bring that home, we brought back Forge. Welcome.
Hello.
Okay. Forge has been a long time participant in this fine program here, and so needs no introduction to the people of the SYN Shop. But you want to give just a quick introduction to the people who are not?
Sure. I am Forge. I do a bunch of stuff on the internet under F0R63. I do a lot of cosplay, as my wall behind me shows. My wig, my colored hair. So, but also I do a lot of stuff for SYN Shop in the SYN Shop community. Do a lot of 3D printing, laser cutting. Which has also led me into becoming a cyborg, which I assume is why I'm here today.
As a matter of fact, it is. So yeah, so tell us about your augmentations.
So I only have one augmentation. It is in my hand, right here. You can feel it. If you're here in person, you can kind of see it a little bit. But my hand is NFC compliant.
Nice.
And I think people,
as is mine.
Yeah, Crux is also yes. You are dominated here by cyborgs.
Well, I for one welcome my robot over. So then I guess really then the question would go to both of you guys. So I guess starting off, how long have you guys had them?
Do you remember?
It was we got it at tour camp. Not the last one, but the one before.
The one before.
Yeah, so that would have been 4 years ago.
4 years, yeah.
So I guess a good place to start would be, what is on the chip? Like, what actually does it contain?
So it's a NFC chip. So there's like a little capsule. It's a glass capsule with an antenna and a microcontroller on it that just reads NFC data. So the same thing that you'd find on, say, like a hotel room card key. There's like a bit of storage space on there, and you could write, various records via that NFC standard. So mine currently has my contact information and a message that says, "You just scanned my hand. Weird."
Wow, you copied my message.
Oh, that's what yours says as well.
Yeah, so mine as well. The primary thing I have stored on it is contact information. You scan it with your phone, it automatically creates a contact card in your phone. So you get my email, my phone number, and then a nice little message that says you scanned my hand.
That's awesome. So what do you guys end up using that for? Is it typically like, do you have like doors that unlock with it, or like?
We haven't set up any like doors to unlock. That is in the future goals, but it's like one of those projects that just kind of got put on the back burner.
Yeah.
At one point we wanted to have it so we could badge into Synshop but using our hands, because that would be awesome.
Well, yeah, definitely.
The problem is NFC has, and especially if it's like an implant like this, it's a very, very small read length. Part of it is because, so it's a cylinder, and
the antenna's coiled.
The antenna is coiled, but it's not coiled in the orientation set up for optimal read. So if like this was the tube, the optimal reader would be perpendicular to it.
Mm-hmm.
However, you're trying to read it like this.
Okay.
And the way radio works, that it doesn't really pick up very well. So
yeah, and even if you've taken apart like a cell phone to like change a battery or something, you'll see the NFC coil there, and it's a flat circular disc. It's not the same type of read that you would get off of this. So even trying to get people to scan your hand with your phone can be kind of tricky just in alignment sake.
Oh, is that right?
Because they don't mesh very well.
Huh. Yeah, there'll generally be like a magic spot on the phone where you'll get a good read. And other than that, you're just spending a lot of time going, all right, I know it's on here somewhere.
Oh, okay.
I have memorized the location of NFC antennas onto various types of phones. And even with my own, sometimes I can read it pretty consistently, but a matter of just like even taking the case off will help it.
So is that the short distance that you're able to read from, is that due in part to how old the chip is? Does that have anything to do with it? Like if you got a newer one, would it be able to read from further away?
No, NFC just doesn't, by its standard, doesn't read very far. And since you're not aligning the antennas up in a way that they're transmitting efficiently to one another,
right? So
therefore it's even a shorter read. It's the physics of how that works.
Yeah, it's the antennas. It's the shape that it is. But what I will say is, I believe the person that designed the chips that we have in our hands, I remember maybe about a year or so ago, doing a version of like a flex chip that does read flat. That if that were to be something that you want a better read range, there are different cybernetics out there for you to explore. So we have NFC, but there's RFID is very, very common. There's Amy Double D from I know from Twitter. She had the Tesla chip implanted into her arm. So I remember she was on the news for a while. So there's a lot of different options in the biohacking sphere.
The one we have, it's very much like the chips that you put in pets. So it's a little small glass capsule, and it's injected with a needle. So local anesthetic, and they inject it in place, and eventually it kind of fuses to where it is and doesn't move around. The flat ones, it'd be kind of like a flat flex cable, and so there's a lot more involved in putting that in. So you actually have to do surgery and a sensor to put that in.
Yeah, you would have to actually make an incision and then get stitches and all that stuff. So So what do you wish that you would have done differently now looking back? Like, or were you just like, yeah, cool?
I mean, definitely for me, it was a spur of the moment thing. I mean, we had the opportunity to get them because we were at tour camp. This was an option for us. I am Crux's cyborg senpai. I think I got mine just slightly before you. So we were at the same event, same time. NFC chip was on the table, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. I would love to play with this. It's, go ahead.
Nice.
I don't know. I think I still would have done it every once in a while. I'm like, oh, maybe it should have been on my other hand, but but for the most part, it's gotten me more familiar with this technology. I knew nearly nothing going into it. And while I have ideas for stuff to do that are still on the back burner, it's definitely taught me about. So let's talk hotel key cards. My biggest thing is always when I went to hacker events, pre-corona era, BCE before corona, but stuff like that. Hotel key cards are usually a different type of NFC. Our NFCs are NFC type 2. There are different types of NFCs. Different readers can read a different range of what type of NFC there are. And hotel key cards are usually only a MyFair Classic version of NFC. So stuff like that, if I knew, maybe I can't use hotel key cards, maybe I would have gone for something like RFID, which, is not off the table. I have another hand. I can get an RFID chip too.
Yeah. As long as the frequency ranges don't, the operating frequency ranges don't conflict, you can actually have like multiple implants in the same location. So I know people that have like, 4 different chips in, and they all do different things. So they have like a couple in this hand and a couple in the other hand. One that a friend of mine that I previous coworker, he got one of the HID, which is another type of access control chip or standard, and it's usually used in a lot of commercial environments. The thing is, it's like really easy to copy and read, and so part of like a red team exercise, he actually wrote out like one of the badges we had copied onto his hand and then used that to badge into the building.
Oh, wow. Well, that's kind of cool. Yeah. Then if you get caught, you don't have anything on you that anyone is going to find.
Yeah.
Wow. How would, man, if you
see the convenience for me is if I just didn't have keys, anywhere to put a key card, because girls' pants don't have pockets. I need my hand key.
I will never understand that. Why girls' pants don't have pockets. I have heard that for many years that was the situation. Why has a girl not made a company that sells pants with pockets? Why?
Oh, they exist. I've got many rants on the pants with pockets discussion.
But
for another time.
Pants with pockets.
Yeah, in the post game, pants with pockets. They'll hold me to that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, there's also Forge had mentioned that Amy Double D, she had put in the chip for her Tesla, so she could actually get into her Tesla and start it up, with just the stuff she had on her. So
that's pretty cool.
That was one that involved surgery because it's a flat card versus a little capsule. But
yeah, so now you can rewrite to it.
But it's very, very searchable.
So once we can program. There's protection on there, so you have to have the right passcode in order to write to mine, because it's implanted in my body, so I don't want someone else just to write arbitrary data and then lock it on me.
The password is 1.
So I have pre-locked it, so therefore I'm the only one that can write to it.
Oh my goodness, my password.
So I guess in a way that what kind of seems like a limitation at first, that being the short read range, is kind of a benefit in a way, because you're not as susceptible to long range readers. Is that a true?
Yeah, I feel it's a lot more secure that way. A little bit of a pain, but
yeah, because you got to kind of futz with it and get your hand in just the right place, as it were.
Yeah, and I'm sure so. My main experience with messing with it has been with phones. I can still get it to read on, a reader that's not built specifically for it, that's not as opportune. I know there are better ones out there that work much better with this kind of implant. I just haven't gotten one myself. So.
Yeah, I have one that I think I can get about a centimeter of read distance off of. So that was going to be one I was going to modify to actually have as a badge reader for Synshop. We couldn't make any changes in order, because it would have to be mounted externally. So we then installed it at the old location. So new location, we own it. So that's on the table.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Or will own it, because we're still waiting on the paperwork.
Yeah, but what I will say with the read range, so one of the things that people always ask me questions, especially like the people that are outside of the hacker sphere of things, that are like, you're being tracked. Oh, it's GPS. People can read it from anywhere. And one of the things I like to compare it to is credit cards. Credit cards have NFC chips on it, because that read range is so close and more secure than something like NFC will read a little bit better than something like NFC would. So it's NFC or RFID.
Yeah. So that was one.
But yeah.
That was one of the things actually in the game in Cyberpunk 2077, that if you're walking down the street, you'll occasionally hear crazy people on the street, rambling and blah blah blah. And there was one that I was walking by in game yesterday, and they were screaming about, they're going to put these chips in you, or they're going to give you new eyes, but you think they're not going to look through them? like, you know, crazy guy on the street with a sandwich board, you know,
classic, you know, classic apocalypse, government, Big Brother watching you stuff.
Yeah. But if you consider, like, you know, what we have today, right now, right? We've got Facebook right now, and everybody willingly is like, here, have all my personal information, please, so I can talk to my uncles or whatever. You know, we've already, in a way, got that. There's already a precedent for it. And I mean, I can definitely see that becoming a thing. Like, if you have cybernetic augmentations, that company's kind of got a direct line into your noggin.
Yeah, so I will say that like, obviously, you know, we know social media, we know we're being tracked pretty much everything we do. It's a matter of being aware of what they're taking and what you're willing to share.
Right.
But I think the biggest thing is, you know, people that are like, oh, you have a chip in you, like you're being tracked. You're, you know, like, how do you know that you're not being like fed all these things? And for one, it's like there's no power going into my hand. Like, I am not putting my hand on a charger every night for, you know, something to feed out. You know, it's like we said, you have to be within like a very, very close, almost touching distance to be able to know what's going on my chip. If you're that close to me, you're not GPS finding me. You don't need a GPS to find me.
If you're that close, you can just ask.
And the only thing that's on my chip is my contact information that I would freely give to anyone anyway. So
sure,
it's not really an issue there. But.
Oh yeah, no. Current day, no. I'm talking about more like, you know, in the future. In a cyberpunk,
when they can tap into your brain and give you special eyes and.
Yeah. Well, and serve you ads, you know, oh, hey, you're walking by McDonald's. You should enjoy a burger or whatever. You know what I mean? You know, so like.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. McDonald's serves burgers? That's weird.
I know, right?
when did that happen?
Yeah.
I guess in that sense, I'm pretty happy that my cyborg chip comes from, you know, this cool group of hackers that I'm familiar with and is not my government mandated implant.
Well, I mean, you know,
this is true.
So we got that going for us, which is nice. Let's see if we still have a voice on this, because this was spur of the moment that I did this. Yeah, okay, we still got voice. Okay, so the stuff that you guys have are, you know, very smaller, you know, they're smaller machines. This is an article on Hackaday, and you will, if you're watching this on YouTube, you should see the link to this in the doobly-doo down below. But at any rate, this is this guy who has implanted a freaking Raspberry Pi. You were mentioning about how, you know, okay, don't worry, you know, don't cry for me, Argentina, because this thing isn't, you know, there's not that much to it. It's just a, you know, this is only, you know, just a thing that has my contact information. But this guy has an entire freaking Raspberry Pi underneath his leg. Now, I'm not going to click on it because I think it's pretty damn gross if I remember right. But he's got the whole entire thing sealed up. So he's got wireless charging, right? It's all wrapped up in that silicone pack thing or whatever that is. I'm not quite sure what that is actually. But yeah, no, it's the one guy, like one of their friends has it in his arm, the other two went into an upper thigh. It's like, that seems like it would be really, really annoying.
So yeah, that doing something like that goes in the hell no category for me. One, it's way too large. So that's going to have other complications. You know, if you're like moving something and something hits your leg there, then, you know, that can be a problem. Like the one I have now, it's fairly safe. Like where it is not going to, you know, if you hit your hand there, it shouldn't actually cause any issues.
You got a lot of hand meat there.
It's super easy to actually get removed. Yeah. But the low commitment on that one. For something where you actually have to have surgery to actually get it put in place, that's a bit more.
Yeah.
There are other type of augments that people have put in that I'm personally on the fence on, but curious what Forge's thoughts were. But like the ones where they put like the magnets in their hands or their fingertips.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if that's something I would do, but I think it's very interesting. I know there's a lot of like adding almost like another like sensory thing that you can essentially feel like electromagnetic waves. And who knows, maybe if I was an electrician, I'd really want to feel if some power is going.
That's actually something
and
I've oh, sorry, don't mean to cut you off. There's a little bit of a lag there, but that's actually one thing I considered doing back when I used to work construction a long time ago. But it was low voltage wiring, but occasionally I would have to wire in a usually 110, sometimes 208 circuits. But having that ability to just kind of have your fingers sort of kind of near it and detect electricity, that would not be a bad thing. That's you would embed a neodymium magnet or just any magnet underneath your fingertip.
Yeah.
And they're made like biosafe.
Yeah. Yeah, they have ones that are actually like coated so you can implant them. And there's several different types. So there's like little tiny magnets that actually go like, I think, underneath your fingernail.
Yeah,
which doesn't sound fun to
don't mention underneath fingernail. That's some things I hated.
There's also ones that are more similar to the chip where it's implanted via a syringe, and it's more like a bar magnet.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people that have both. So
what's the intent for that? Like, so you can detect power, but what are the other? It gives you like a different. Sense,
you could, I mean, you'd be able to detect anything like metal or anything that the magnet is going to attract to.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a different like range of feeling, it's like having a sense of touch, a sense of like, sound, and you can sense magnet and
you have a sense of
ferrous objects. I know. Yeah, you have a sense of metal. Huh. I know so speaking of maybe like the Hackaday article, I think if I remember right, like the community that is like self biohacking and, just trying to try things for the sake of, evolving what humans can do with technology would be like, I think they refer to it as grinders. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people that are kind of in that community and just trying different things themselves go with the assumption of, oh, I can achieve this by doing this. Let's try it. And I know some of the magnet stuff has been, okay, what is the range of like magnet? Would I be able to tell direction on the earth because of the like magnetic polarity? Would I be able to tune into that sense of the magnet? Mm-hmm. I know I've read articles about magnet implants like somewhere around the ear and essentially having like Bluetooth speakers. So
whoa.
I mean, I would have to dig more into the science of how that works. But I mean, you do music as well. You know how like pickups and stuff are magnets.
Yeah.
Again, it was like one article I read. I don't know the science behind it, but these are the concepts that people go with.
And it can. So what can it pick up? You say it's a Bluetooth speaker. Where's the input? Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Look for. I gotta do some Googling.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you'd have to have like a strong enough magnetic field that would vibrate it essentially.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to read up on some of this stuff. That's pretty cool. All right. Well, one thing I don't have to read up on is the top of the hour, and that's because it's already about 5 minutes ago. But just wanted to take a quick moment and let you guys know that we are here talking with Forge, the resident SYN Shop cyborg, and also Crux, who is our permanent resident cyborg. I don't know, whatever. they have
both chips. They have
RFID chips. It's all good. But anyway, so this is the first hour. We got another half hour left in the first hour. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to be switching over to the post game. Now, the main show, which is what you're watching right now, that's going to be on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube right now, it's Saturday, and welcome to it. But if, on the other hand, you're watching on Twitch, then after the bottom of the hour, stick around for about 5-10 minutes, and we'll be back with a whole nother hour of fun. Today in the post game, we are going to be talking about, well, I think we're also going to be talking about women's pants and the pockets they lack. In addition to that, we will also be talking about, one of the other often mentioned things about Cyberpunk 2077, the jiggle bone. And how it came to be, I think. I want to do a dramatic reenactment, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so, also I want to remind everybody, you know, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you like the show, fling us a like. If you if you want to see more of it, ring the bell. If you're watching us on Twitch, send us be a subscriber. That's the one. Oh, also speaking of subscribers, I saw this earlier, didn't get a chance to shout it out. I'd like to say a big thank you to Brick Pixel, who gave us a follow earlier on. Really appreciate that. And so yeah. Also, if you want to find out more about the shop, this is on behalf of the SYN Shop, you can go to synshop.org for more information about the shop. If you'd like to find out more information on upcoming events, primarily entirely virtual ones, just like this one, that would be meetup.com/SynShop. And if you'd like to donate to the shop, you can go to synshop.org/donate. If you would like one of these groovy shirts, you want to donate to the shop, and you'd also like to push laundry back just one more day, that would be, you can just type !merch in the chat and find out more about it that way. All right. With that said, new topic. So along with, so in the, I have a long-standing rule on spoilers, and that is after something comes out, you get 2 weeks. Okay, so we're still well within the 2 weeks of Cyberpunk 2077, so no spoilers. But
I've not even played it, so it'd be hard for me to spoil something I've not even seen. So.
Fair enough. Yeah. So you have played it though, right, Forge?
I have not. I've looked up things. I know, right? I'm so decked out here, and I.
Okay. All right.
No, I was pretty unfamiliar with it. I know
it was a sled. I think is that it, or was Bruce Willis dead the entire game?
I think Snake killed.
I know
Bruce
Keanu
Willis.
Reeves. I know.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow, what a spoiler.
Oh man, and it's wrong. But so basically, if you think of any book by William Gibson and put Grand Theft Auto into it, that's pretty much what it's like. So if you like GTA, but you're like, boy, I sure could use more neon in this, you could do none finer than that right there. So so I don't want to spoil anything about it, but suffice to say, you meet a character.
More neon and less 80s music, because I would go with Vice City for the more neon, but
yeah, okay, all right, that's fair. Yeah. Almost no 80s music. I haven't listened to all the channels in the car. Yeah. When I got in the car the first time, it was a station I just did not care for, and so I've turned the radio off ever since. I was just like, oh, this is
Dang.
Yeah, I'm getting dumber every second I listen to this. But anyway, so you meet a character in the game who has been digitized and is currently living inside of a computer chip. And I was like, huh, well, that's a hell of a thing, transferring your conscious to a computer. Now there's a video game that dealt with that heavily, which I've forever sing the praises of, and that's called Soma. If you really want to get ooked out about the idea, you can do none finer than that. But it also inspired a video from the sky above the port was the color of television tuned to a dead channel. So
that's the beginning of Neuromancer, one of my favorite books.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, man, I was just thinking about that earlier. How would you like to be William Gibson and be the guy that was like responsible for the word like the net or crawling the web or surfing the internet, surfing the net, and like all of these terms that got ported into real things? It's just crazy. And now you see a game like this that basically takes all of his, all of his creative beats in most of his stories, and it just brings it to life. That's got to be just a heavy thing for him, I would imagine.
Yeah, although his books are kind of a mixed bag for him. I either really, really like the book, or I feel I've not taken enough drugs to really understand or enjoy this book. So.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Did you read The Difference Engine?
I believe I did.
That was the one he did with let's see, it was Bruce Sterling and William Gibson. Yeah, I thought that was his name.
Actually, I don't know if I read that one.
It was basically cyberpunk in the Old West. I think that might have been like.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've read that one then.
Oh, okay. It might have been like one of the big influences behind the whole steampunk thing, I think. I've been wrong before, though, so I don't know. I'm sure there was stuff before it. But at any rate, in addition to that, it also inspired a video from a show that I'm a big fan of, at least, Kurzgesagt. He did a video about the very subject, and it's actually tied into the thing as well. It's tied into the trying to copy the URL for you and talk at the same time. It is not working out. But anyway, it is there in the chat. So, but he made this video about transferring your
they're a group, aren't they?
What's that?
They're a group. That's like a whole team that makes the videos.
That is a good point. Yes, it is an entire team. It's not one guy. And apparently they've been working on that video for about a year, and they just kind of kept it under their hats. Well, probably because the game kept...
Yeah, they got... well, they were... I guess reached out to make a video on that. But they had to wait until Cyberpunk 2077 was actually released before they could actually release the video.
Yeah. So in the video that I just threw the link up to, the whole thing basically hinges on three assumptions. Okay, first of all, whether we can even get into, whether we can get our heads into a computer. They say, in the video that I just linked to, they say there's three assumptions that have to be, you have to assume in order to even move forward at all, right? So the first one would be physicalism. Okay, so basically this is the concept that your consciousness lives in your brain. Okay, so now this is just a Twitch show, and I'm certainly not going to get into the where does the soul sit or whatever, So you just basically have to assume, in order for this to work, according to the video, that your consciousness is in your brain. Okay, that's number one. That's physicalism. Number two is scannability. Okay, that's the concept that we're going to one day be able to scan the brain fully. We'll be able to scan the brain fully, and that this scan would actually, end up doing something for us. Now, in the video, they mentioned that in order to create scans of a square millimeter of mouse brain, just like a large grain of sand, I think, it would require 2 million gigabytes. So to scan an entire human brain, and the way they did it was crazy. They sliced it up. I don't know how they sliced it up this many times, but in was it something like 2,000 or 20,000? It's like some obscene number for how small that is. But they sliced it up into little tiny bits and digitized the whole thing. And it took 2 million gigabytes. So to scan an entire human brain, that would require more storage than currently exists on Earth. And there's a lot of storage on Earth. So that's the second one. That's scannability. So can we get a picture of it, and when would that picture do anything for us? And so then kind of tied in with that is the third one, computability. And that's the assumption that we're going to be able to write a program that behaves exactly how the brain does. And so some of what they're looking at is simplifying processes of the brain in order to make it easier to code. So that, I guess if you guys want to jump in on that, any thoughts so far about the three assumptions? Do you disagree with any of those, or?
I mean, it's those three assumptions are what we would have to do to actually make it happen, but that is so far beyond our capabilities, probably our capabilities for any time soon to come, or even in the far distant future to come, that I don't think you could do it personally.
I also, I forget what the initial thing was. I was watching some video many years ago, and it was basically the idea of okay, if you could upload all of your consciousness, if all those assumptions were met, would that be you? And overall, so the idea of uploading your consciousness into something else, is that now you? Which in my thought would be, I wouldn't think so. It's not, I don't think that I would be ceasing to think if I uploaded my consciousness there. That would be now a copy of me, but not me.
All right. Well, man, You know what? We don't have that much time left in the show.
I throw a wrench in it.
No. I was saving that for last, but I'm gonna go for it right now because you just teed up the ball for me. So this is the thing. I'm gonna now we are well past 2 weeks for Soma. That game came out I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago. So if you haven't played it yet, I'm about to spoil a little piece of it. Well, not really. Kind of. It deals with uploading your you-ness, it's basically the ability for you to live inside of a machine. Okay. So this guy is diagnosed with some kind of he's in a car wreck and he has a brain injury, right? And no doctor can fix it. So he goes to see this one guy and he says, okay, look forward into the thing, ka-chunk. And all of a sudden he wakes up in this dark, dingy research facility that's located underneath the ocean. How did this happen? What the hell? And so the whole game is about figuring out what the hell. And what you find out eventually is that when he did the ka-chunk, he took one of the first brain scans that was complicated enough in order to fully map out the brain and recreate it later. So he wasn't him, he was a machine, but he thought he was him. Yeah. Okay.
He had the memories of him. Yeah.
So now here's what's really going to cook your noodle. In the story, according to the story, there was a guy that went to a doctor's office. He got in the machine. He went ka-chunk and nothing happened. And he went home and later on died of a brain injury because the doctor was unable to fix him. So what happens is when you step into the machine and it goes ka-chunk, it's a coin toss. Is your consciousness going to be the you that stays, or is your consciousness going to be the one that flips over? Because the one that flipped over is the same consciousness that walked into the machine. Do you see what I'm saying? From your clone's perspective, it woke up that day, put on a pair of pants, went down to the doctor's office and a shirt, I assume. Went down to the doctor's office and went ka-chunk.
Yeah.
Then that person wakes up 100 years later in a thing, right? Yeah. So if you were to do a brain scan, you have a 50-50 chance of being that clone, which is a trip.
I would disagree. I feel like you have a 0% chance of becoming that clone.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's not as if, you're plugging in your brain to the machine directly that's feeding out that information. There is a different you that's being created. Yes, it has your memories, but it would be, am I prolonging what my thoughts could be? I'm not prolonging myself in that thought. I would always be the guy that's going home and dying.
Yeah, there's a point in time snapshot that will continue to exist, and it would have its own sense of self if that's a thing that can be done.
I guess what I'm saying is...
So it's kind of like with like the theory that like every like decision and whatnot that happens is the universe splitting off into like a different direction. And so like everything happens and therefore there are multiple yous that just branch off infinitely as all of the things happen.
All of the choices that could be made, there's more universes.
So it's kind of like two branches there.
If you're saying from my perspective, right? Yes. But the moment that you get to the other side of that scan, but the moment you get to the other side of that scan, how would you know whether you were the original you or whether you were the copy you before you look down and say, oh, I'm a robot. Okay.
See, I don't think that would even happen. I would think the copy would think it was the original because it has those memories, but the original could never be the copy. Yeah. But
from the copy's perspective,
it's a fork versus from the copy's perspective, you would think that you were the original even though you weren't.
Yeah.
But overall, you wouldn't be the original. That logic
Yeah,
wouldn't.
it's also like the Star Trek teleporter scenario of, I get teleported and all of my matter gets reconstructed, on the planet's surface, and then what was me gets destroyed in the spaceship. Am I still me, or am I not?
Yeah. That is a trip to think about, because it's not exactly transmitting that material. It's creating all new material, right? That's in canon. Is that how that?
Yeah. Well, in theory, yeah. I don't know if they really even explain it on Star Trek, but there are multiple different ways of thinking about it. It's like you're either moving the material or you're destroying the material in the state of a thing and then recreating something that's identical. So if you think of it from like a quantum aspect, you can't get the true state of like a molecule without destroying it in the process of reading it, or changing it in the process of reading it. So.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Oof. I highly recommend the game. It's called Soma, by the way. But Titans in the chat says, I mean, ever have a life event that changed your mind about something? I'd imagine our thoughts and ideas are quite malleable. I mean, definitely. I mean, and
oh, absolutely.
If you woke up as the copy, then you'd have to be a person that did not choke up on reality. That's for sure. If you're the kind of person that like hangs on to reality with all they got, you are not going to have a good time with things. If you be like, oh, okay, well, I'm a machine now. Okay, that's fine. If you can do that, then you're groovy. I guess here in the last 5 minutes here before we go to break, here's an interesting thought that the Kurskazad show brought up. What if you're a jerk? So like, you would have the ability, right? If you're a successful person, let's say that this technology exists and you can upload yourself into a machine, blah, 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 right? Well, the wealthy is going to do nothing but hoard wealth, and the megalomaniacal will do nothing but hoard power, which is completely different than how it is today, So I don't know how we can handle. Oh, wait.
Oh, gee. Oh,
it's
boy.
Completely new and foreign concept that no one's
weird.
Can't possibly imagine.
Yeah. What are you, Rockefeller or Carnegie? No. So you, but that is a thing though. Instead of it being a generational thing where at least you have a chance of the idiot son doing a whole bunch of cocaine and blowing all the family fortune, you wouldn't really have that chance because it would be the same guy that made all the money in the first place still hanging around hoarding all the things. So it'd have to be a thing like where, any income earned by an electronic being would be, I don't know, taxed or something. Like how would that work?
I don't know. I also feel like, so thinking back on like the uploading of someone, I don't think the original person has that consciousness, but also the copy would still follow with the same line of thinking. If that's the case, like what would be the incentive to be uploading people's consciousness? Because it's not I'm prolonging my life. It's I'm still gonna die, but my thoughts will live on without me getting like that feedback from it. Unless, we think of something like the Matrix where like you're physically plugged into something. But what would be the benefit of just extending the life of some jerk that's hoarding wealth? And I honestly, if that was a technology that came about, I would just think it'd be like, all right, we have this brilliant mind, the scientist, someone that can think of something a certain way. We'll upload their consciousness after they're gone. And, it would become like a computing program. It'd be, think of a solution for this, give that back to me. I don't know if it would be a way to extend life in that sense.
Well, just like how
I don't know if a jerk would be hoarding wealth. It would just be used as a tool.
Yeah, but see, if you think of like an Elon Musk figure or something like that, he definitely buy or, buy out the technology or do something to that effect in order to have it. And then the thought that I had additionally with that actually the Curse Goes Out video again brought up was if you could clone it and work alongside of it. So it'd basically be your electronic helper friend, and then afterwards, do you leave all your stuff to it? Like, does it become your old partner?
There was a episode of Black Mirror essentially where you created a clone of yourself that lived in like this little egg that its job was to be your personal assistant, and since it was you, it would be the best personal assistant for you. But it was kind of like horror for the thing in the egg.
Oh no.
Well, of course it ended poorly because it's Black Mirror.
Yeah, it's Black Mirror.
Yeah. This is Black Mirror was just like, behold the future. Now here's how it screws you. But all right. Well, at any rate, so let's see. We are at the bottom of the hour, so let's go on over and switch over to the post game now. First of all, Forge, thank you so much for joining us today. You're sticking around for the post game, right?
Yeah. I will.
Good deal. And maybe during the break we'll try to futz around and get our audio synced up here and all that, because I've got a long day of editing ahead of me tomorrow morning. Good gravy. Yeah. But
thank you for those who stuck around.
Absolutely, yeah. Seriously, thank you for sticking out through the horrible thing. We are edging dangerously close to actually getting our stuff fixed. And speaking of edging, in the post game, we're going to be talking about the most surprising moment I've had in a video game in quite some time. I was not prepared for that. I thought I was just going to pick facial hair, but nope.
Oh, you didn't know about the customization? Oh, man.
I didn't know about the customization. We're going to talk about that in the post game. So, yeah. So if you're watching this on YouTube, again, welcome to Saturday. And right about in just a couple seconds here, you are going to see me with longer sideburns telling you all about the post game and all the stuff you missed. Hi, I'm the Mighty Pong, host of the show that you just got done watching. Hey, if you'd like to see the entire show and not just the first hour, make sure that you watch on twitch.tv/Synshop every Friday night for the main show. And on Monday nights, we have our special project night. So you can join us, build something, and basically throw stuff at us while we try to concentrate on things. It's a lot of fun. Kind of. But hey, anyway, we hope to see you there. It's a lot of fun. So join us over there, twitch.tv/Synshop. I am, of course, the Mighty Pong, and we will see you there. One take. Not one.